So I just picked up this game today, just came out in America, One Piece Unlimited World Red. Just quickly wanted to show you guys. But on a more serious note, article today came out, and I read it on Kotaku, I'll link it in the description, regarding the future of One Piece, with a little mini interview from Eiichiro Oda regarding his plans for the future of One Piece and what's going to be happening. And obviously, if you can tell by the title, it's basically saying that Oda plans to do One Piece for 10 more years. Now, if I'm correct, I believe in 2010, around that time, he said that he was going to do One Piece for probably another 10 years. And it came out like, yeah, man, I'm thinking of doing another 10 years. And I remember that was the same time Tite Kubo came out and said he was going to do Bleach for 10 more years as well. But now he's saying I'll probably be drawing for 10 more years as well. Now, the way he said it, drawing, they were asking him about One Piece in general, so I'm imagining what he meant was I'm going to be drawing One Piece for 10 more years. That is a lot to take in for a second. Think about it. One Piece will probably be going for 10 more years from now. In a sense, that is amazing, because all good things must come to an end except a love for big boobies and One Piece. Because if we could have it for 10 more years, and he's done this a couple different times. I believe he said back in Shabundi, though, it came out that he said, oh yeah, this is probably the halfway point. And then in Fishman Island, he said, yeah, man, I'm going to do 10 more years of One Piece. And now he's coming out 4 years later and saying, I'm doing One Piece for 10 more years. It's really making me wonder what's up with this. Like, will we, 4 years or 5 years, Oda come out and say, yeah, man, I'm going to be doing One Piece for 10 more years. I just love it. And I like that he is a very dedicated person. He is dedicated. And as far as, like, the quality of One Piece, no one can argue regarding the fact that it is a quality work. It is one of the best. I don't care what anyone says. It is hands down one of the best shonen manga of all time, period. It just really has some of the greatest story and some of the greatest plot, some of the greatest characters, and just all around is a really great mix for a shonen manga. It's one of the best. But one of the things that I fear personally is Oda's health. Can he last 10 more years doing One Piece? It's been recent that he's been taking quite a few different hiatuses. Like every 3 or 4 weeks, he takes a week off, which is good for the man. Don't get me wrong. He needs definitely his rest. He needs to get better, because at one given point during 2012, he was stating that he didn't sleep at all. He basically was having like 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. He was, just working himself to the bone. He was basically saying, I don't have no days off. I want to go outside. I don't care where I go. I just need to get out of here. So you could tell that he was freaking out back then. Jump realized, and they realized, yo, we're slaving this man. So now he gets a day off every month or so, which is good for the man, but I'd imagine he's such a workaholic that he probably takes that day off to plan the next thing in One Piece, which the man is just, as far as like a hard worker, nobody can stop or deny that, he is just an amazingly hard worker. But can he last when he's already been getting a lot of health issues recently? He had something wrong with his tonsils. He's just been getting sick a lot lately. And that's the thing that scares me. I would hate for this great story that is One Piece to end up getting basically canned because, the man can't do it anymore. And it's like, we've been invested so many years. One Piece been going on since, what, 97? Imagine we get to, like, 2020 or some shit, and he's still writing One Piece, and then, bam, he just gets sick, and we never know how it ends. I really hope that at the very least, he has everything mapped out, so in case something like that does happen, he could have someone else fill in for him, because as of right now, it's scaring me that One Piece, like, it's crazy. It's amazing. Like, holy shit, 10 more years of One Piece. Fuck yeah, 10 more years of awesomeness. But at the same time, 10 more years of a possibility of Oda getting to the point where he can't draw no more. Oda getting really sick. And that's a very scary thought to think of. But as a whole, it's good news and scary news at the same time for me. Also, in the interview, he came out and said something along the lines of there's going to be more people joining the One Piece crew. So I'm guessing what he means is that there will be more Straw Hat pirates at some given point. I don't know how many. I don't know if he meant just a permanent thing or temporary, sort of like a Vivi situation. Either way, I really hope that means that there's going to be more Straw Hats, because he said joining the One Piece crew. So I'm guessing that he means, the Straw Hats, which, if that's the case, that's good news, because we haven't had a new Straw Hat since, like, Brook or something like that. And not that I want to have, like, 30, 40 Straw Hats or anything, but a couple new ones would be nice to join the crew and, shake things up a little bit. Like, Bartolomeo will be fucking epic. I wouldn't mind Rebecca. She needs to work on a couple of things, as far as, like, her bravery and stuff, but ultimately she'd be a cool addition to the crew, too. Even some people say Trafalgar Law, even though he has his crew. I mean, we've seen before Frankie left his crew behind in order to join the Straw Hats, so you never know. But definitely, as far as this 10 years thing go, it is very interesting that Oda plans to do this, but can he do it is the question. And will we, be on edge every time Oda gets sick, something, maybe it could come to a point where he just really can't do it. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think that this is a good thing, a bad thing? Do you want to keep reading One Piece for 10 more years? Or does something like this get you irritated to the fact that it's like, oh my gosh, I love this series, but I don't want to read it for 10 more years? Let me know your thoughts on this. For me, it's cool and all. I hope I can keep going with One Piece for 10 more years, reading it, being invested that heavily into it for another 10 years. That's a whole different story right there, though, as far as the fandom. Can the fandom thrive for 10 more years, or will it fizzle out and they'll come to a point where they'll tell Oda, yo, you got to wrap this up soon? A lot of questions there. And just what is your whole take on this whole thing? I'll link the article down in the description so you can check it out. 10 more years of One Piece. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? But that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.